And other details now, President John Dramani Mahama has inaugurated a Made in Ghana committee to oversee government's campaign of promoting goods and services produced locally. This is in line with his quest to restructure the country's economy, which has taken a downward trend for some time now. The brief ceremony was held at the Flagstaff House here in Accra.
Government has for some time now bemoaned the increased appetite by the Ghanaian citizenry for imported product. It has also highlighted millions of dollars being lost by the Ghanaian economy in the process. The Made in Ghana committee is headed by the Trade and Industry Minister, Ekospio Gabra. He blames the appetite for imports as partially responsible for Ghana's economic woes.
This trend, this development, this historical record has led, among many other things, to the challenges that our currency faces from time to time when there's a higher demand for foreign currency than our local currency, which leads to depreciation of the cedi. It has affected employment and to job creation. It is collapsing some of our industries, and it is making Ghana not as competitive in the sub-region as it could be. Our imports are exceeding our exports, leading to trade deficits, budget deficits, balance of payment deficits, etc. This is partly what has led us to have a conversation with the International Monetary Fund. But His Excellency's ambition and objective is to reverse this trend. And when I had the privilege of being sworn in as minister, one of the tasks, in fact probably the only task he specifically mentioned to me in his office is, and with my two deputies, was to take up this mantle of promoting the Made in Ghana agenda and to make haste with it.
President John Mahama urged the committee to pay attention to packaging and public awareness campaigns.
We should experiment with either beginning to grow wheat, because my understanding is that yes, it's possible to grow wheat in our country, or if we are not going to grow wheat, then let's get our cassavas and maize and other products from which we can make flour and blend it with the wheat. If we can begin with clothes. Our clothes are just as fashionable as any clothes that you can buy anywhere. All those designers outside, have made the name they've made because people are wearing their clothes, in the countries where they are popular, and based on that they have managed to spread out to the world. We have a lot of young budding designers here in Ghana who are making clothes of international standard, and if we ourselves start wearing those clothes and showcasing them, then we're likely to get more people to recognize our designers and also buy their clothes. But in manufacturing, we have cables, we have pharmaceuticals, we have so many things that we can look at. It would also boost our sense of national pride. The fact that you are more reliant on yourself than outside, I guess, would be something that we would all be proud of. I expect that this committee would engage in a strong public awareness campaign, because one of the things you notice when you even talk to people about made in Ghana goods is how to identify which goods are made in Ghana. And so, several times people have asked me, says, but how do we know which is made in Ghana? When people go to buy, they don't really have time to read the small print and see where it's made. And so probably a very significant logo or something on the product that shows that, look, this is proudly made in Ghana or something, is something that your committee might consider. But I know that, all of you are experts in this and you would know how to handle it.
The committee has indicated that prior steps to achieving their targets have already started. They were, however, at the Flagstaff House for what they termed the official blessing of the presidency. Gifty Andopia, Joy News, Flagstaff House.
Here in Accra, my name is Stephen Enti. 22 suspected criminals are in the custody of the Ashanti Regional Police Command for various crimes. Among them is a spiritualist who is suspected of assisting criminals in their activities.
Osman Abubakar, Bismarck Opoku, Osman Dawood, Isaac Kakari, Lawrence Bakwin, Yasiti Guruma and Isaac Teji were arrested at separate locations in the region. Police at Mampontin retrieved 11 vehicles suspected to have been stolen around the Siakwa area in the Bunuahafu region. The vehicles have been paraded at the Mampontin District Command for identification. Regional Commander DCOP Kofi Boakye says efforts are being made to arrest other accomplices. He also hinted police are making a headway in investigations into the recent killing of a bank manager in Kumasi.
Now, police in the Ashanti region still are warning delegates and supporters of the National Democratic Congress against any acts of lawlessness at Saturday's Congress in Kumasi. Regional Police Commander, Deputy Commissioner of Police Kofi Boakye says troublemakers will be made to face the full rigor of the law. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reports.
The NDC Congress to elect nation officers is slated for the Baba Yara Stadium in Kumasi on Saturday. Police say, though it is an internal election, the large number of delegates due to converge in Kumasi makes security paramount. Besides the venue for the Congress, police would also provide security at hotels and other vantage points of the city. Arrangements have also been made for patrol teams to monitor the situation in and around the stadium area to ensure incident-free event. DCOP Kofi Boakye wants delegates to be law-abiding whilst observing party's rules for the Congress.
We continue to advise hotel managers to to be conscious of their bookkeeping, documentation, to make sure that people who come there are well documented, people who sleep in their hotels, because we have instances where some unscrupulous people go and book in a hotel knowing that there are a lot of visitors there and rob them.
He advises hotel managers to be alert and keep proper records of their guests during the Congress. The police commander assures residents of police protection during the Christmas festivities, but he urges members of the public to be vigilant in order not to fall prey to criminals.
And all the laws are being enforced, and people should not say that because it's a political party activity, they can do whatever they like. No. All the laws of the country are still enforceable. This is a Congress. You come, you do what you are supposed to do, and go. But if you come and find yourself in problem in Kumasi, the law will take its course.
Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin's report for Joy News.
And one of the suspects in the murder of manager of Abreport branch of EcoBank in Kumasi has been arrested. 20-year-old Samuel Boedi, also known as Buffer, and two others shot and killed 39-year-old Richard Salah in a robbery attack at his residence at Ahinama, Kokobing. Correspondent Mahmoud has more.
The killing of the bank manager on 5th December left residents in both shock and fear. Many of them have since been closing earlier than usual in order to be home, some as early as 5 p.m. Richard Salah had led the three suspected killers into his bedroom at gunpoint. In an attempt to unmask one of the robbers, now identified as Alex, he shot the banker in the face. Upon police investigation, Samuel Brady was arrested, and a search on him led to the discovery of a compact laptop and phantom A+ phone belonging to the deceased. Police led the suspect to Mr. Saleh's residence for a simulation on how the criminals entered the house and how they shot him. He also demonstrated how they got into the room through the window. Regional Police Commander DCOP Kofi Boakye appeals to the public to assist with information that will lead to the arrest of the other accomplices.
A Director of Policy Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Afisa Zakaria, says government's limited contribution to research has made the translation of research outcomes into policy a major challenge. Dr. Zakaria was speaking at a network meeting of policymakers, researchers and journalists at the Navrongo Health Research Center in the Upper East region.
The meeting brought together researchers from the Navarongo, Kintampo and Dodowa Health Research Centers, stakeholders and health personnel to discuss ideas on how to identify practical strategies to promote the use of health research for policy decision-making by government. Director of Policy Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Afisa Zacharias said, due to government's limited contribution to research work, translating research outcomes into policy has become very challenging.
Once we limit the funding to external sources, the external sources will definitely influence the results. They will make good use of the results because they will own the results. So let's also advocate. Let's advocate for GOD funds. But this we cannot do by word of mouth. That's evidence. After all, research is evidence. And with evidence, I believe research will get in place in our budget.
Director of the Navrongo Health Research Center, Dr. Abraham Odro, said the center has conducted several studies which include the vitamin A supplementation trial for pregnant women and the insecticide-treated bed net studies. Dr. Odro stated that one of the groundbreaking researches the center has conducted is a community-based health planning and services, CHIPS compounds, which is now implemented by rural communities by the Ghana Health Service. Charity Binka, Executive Secretary of the African Media and Malaria Research Network, AMRAN, a network of African journalists and scientists working together to reduce the burden of malaria in Africa, said, fairly on the path of research organizations to involve the media in their work contributes to the inaccurate reportage about research findings.
If, for instance, you organize an event on, let me see, one international, maybe Wellness Day or Independence Day and all those days, you are sure that you will not get the publicity that you need. You have to understand the media, their areas of interest. If you win them over, if they are not interested in what you have to say, we have a way of linking up with them to establish that rapport. And the strategy to work with them, that means that you must have a plan.
A report by Albert Sorry.
And my name is Stephen Anti. You're watching the primetime news on Joy News on Multi TV, where you can also watch us on ABN Sky Channel 235 in London and across Europe. We have more news for you. Do stay.
Hello, it's time for business with me, Matilda Nyakwa Kweku. In business tonight, Chief Executive Officer of the EcoBank Group, Albert Essien, is asking banks to work on their structural rigidity to make them more efficient in order to reduce their cost to enable them lend more to private businesses. He's also calling on banks to consolidate more to build stronger balance sheets to support Ghana's development agenda.
EcoBank Group CEO Albert Essien was speaking at the 14th MTN Business World Executive Breakfast Meeting in Accra, which brought together stakeholders in the business community. Addressing questions related to the growth of the banking sector and its linkages with the growth of other sectors of the economy, he maintained banks need bigger balance sheets to contribute more to economic development.
You realize that the capacity of banks here to support what I call development agenda is very small. So we either consolidate to give us that firepower, which also will help us to withstand the volatilities, that is the risks that underline our type of activity, or the banks here cannot really step into that space to provide that much needed funding for big projects, energy, power, infrastructure.
He emphasized that riskless government instruments coupled with the cost involved in banking makes it difficult for banks to lend more.
Banks need to work on their structural rigidities, what I call their structural rigidities. They need to be much more efficient. I think that the cost in the banking sector is too high. But you know, when interest rates for riskless, that's government paper, comes down, the banks will take a cue. They will be forced to come down. It has happened before in this country. However, I think banks should also do more with regard to attracting savings. So I do agree when people claim that the spread between the lending and the savings is a bit too high. I think that they need to also do more to bring in savings into the commercial banks. That is the lifeblood of any commercial bank.
Albert Essien also called on local banks to come together and control the banking sector, lest foreigners do so. Abigail Admakunchi for Joy News.
Groups Send Ghana and the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana have expressed worry over what they say is the inability of the 2015 budget to improve upon the general decline in food crop production in the country. The groups are therefore calling on government to, among other things, promote effective coordination of the various decentralized departments within the agriculture sector.
There is a general decrease in food crop production, and the concern is how this affects food security of this country. We need to be looking at ways of addressing productivity increase and not a decrease. And the budget is not addressing the areas where they can clearly see that food production would be on the increase.
The two groups pointed to uncoordinated extension programming and limited networking as factors creating duplication of efforts and wastage in the provision of extension services. They argue a lot more could be achieved if the problem is addressed.
That there is a gap between how the Ministry of Agric at the national level is performing and its impact on the ordinary farmer on the ground. And that is a huge challenge. So they want government to look at, for instance, how they can improve on the decentralization to ensure that even though the whole process is being decentralized, they still will have technical support.
Another issue of major concern to the groups is the removal of the fertilizer subsidy program, an initiative started by government in 2008 to help farmers increase the rate of fertilizer application to boost yield.
The farmer needs average of 500 Ghana cedis for fertilizer loan on the farm. We are not talking about plowing. To plow 1 acre for 2014 farming season was 75 Ghana cedis. And then you will bring in harrow. We are not talking about labor. So if we are not actually putting all this into context, and then we are fast in taking our subsidies, at the end of the day, we are not going to achieve the aim we want to achieve, because we are competing with external agriculture, just like Europe, US and other places, who highly subsidize their farmers.
Send Ghana and the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana also warned that government's failure to promote mechanized farming and efficient irrigation systems, as well as address problems of post-harvest loss management, could threaten the country's food security. Redwan Karim Dini Osman, Joy News, Accra.
Let's do some sports now. Ghana's Wahid Abdul Omar, who won bronze at the 2014 Commonwealth Games in Scotland, has expressed his disappointment at the National Sports Authority and the Minister of Youth and Sports for refusing to pay him a reward package of $3,000 over 4 months after the Games in Glasgow. Omar, who won a bronze medal in amateur boxing, is frustrated by the delay in paying him his money.
I'm not being paid. I don't understand why it's keeping on like that. And our leader told me that they are still working on it, and I'm not being happy because it keep long. Get it to 4 months. We are not being hear anything good news about our games that we attend. That makes me very, very unhappy. I don't understand. Oh, they told me it's $3,000. Told me that they are still on it, and I'm not being hear any good news on that issue too. I don't understand why they are still because going to big communal games like that to achieve something, and you are not being rewarded on that thing that you are achieved to. It's like you are doing nothing because you are sacrificed to doing something, and they are not rewarded on that thing that you are doing. I mean, that make you feel I'm not pity or anything like that. Yeah. The ambition to go to Olympics games to achieve big, something big like this, because going to big games it's not easy, but we pray my ambition to attend Olympics game to win a medal. Yeah.
Well, meanwhile, the chef de mission for Ghana during the Commonwealth Games, Chris Esilfi, has confirmed to Joy Sports the medalists have not received their rewards yet, but added that the responsibility of government through the sports ministry to do so. Now, international businessman and ardent golfer Sir Sam Jonah will chair the second Ghana Golf Awards fixed for Saturday, December 27th at Trade Fair Center in Accra. Sir Jonah will be among the high-profile personalities expected to grace the second edition of the event, with Ochehini Osajifo Amwetia for opinion the second. Live patron of the GGA also attending. In all, 20 golfers will be honored for their distinguished performance in the year 2014. Spokesperson of the organizing committee, Jeffrey Asari, says all is set for the awards.
Ghana Golf Awards. We have the Amateur Golfer of the Year. We have the Amateur Female Golfer. We have the male one and the female one. We have the Most Improved Golfer, male and female category. Most Promising Golfer, male and female category. Junior Golfer of the Year, male and female category. Senior Golfer of the Year, male and female category. Professional Golfer of the Year. Golf Personality of the Year is the flagship award, and then Golfer of the Year. So these are the main categories that we are going to have on that day. I wish to say that Primeval Media, we are very proud to say that the Ghana Golf Association have helped us immensely through broad consultation, excellent collaboration. Without the Ghana Golf Association support, this particular event wouldn't have become a success. And so the Ghana Golf Association deserve a lot of plaudits for their support. Anytime we call on them, they are ready to be there.
Now, Christmas came early for Ghana's members of parliament as they prepared to wrap up their work for 2014. Members, together with the speaker and other invited guests, joined in the annual festive celebration of 9 lessons and carols, which was held at the forecourt of State House.
As has become the norm every Christmas, Parliament, like many institutions, organizes a festival of 9 lessons and carols to usher in the Christmas festivities before going on recess. This year's ceremony was packed with choirs from different parts of the capital. The Voices of Democracy, Sakumono Community Choir, Bawe Methodist Choir, among others, thrilled the patrons with some local and traditional Christmas carols. Vice President Kwesi Bekwe Emisa Arthur, Speaker of Parliament Edward Doe Ajaho, Chief Justice Georgina Wood, as well as the majority and minority leaders of the House, among others, took turns to read the 9 lessons for the night.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him, all things were made. Without him, nothing was made that has been made.
But you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For out of you will come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel.
The Messiah is welcomed in a manger. Let us hear the word of God. In the 6th month of Elizabeth's pregnancy, God sent the angel Gabriel to Nazareth, a town in Galilee. The virgin pledged to be married to a man named Joseph.
In his homily, the Archbishop of the Accra Diocese of the Catholic Church, His Grace Charles Palmer Buckle, reminded Ghanaians about the need to be grateful to God for the peace the country continues to enjoy and the fact that the country has been spared from the deadly Ebola disease.
In the words of the prophet Isaiah, my dear parliamentarians, let us beat all our swords into plowshares and all our spears into pruning hooks. Let our parliament say and commit to no more partisan political warfare.
And that's it for Showbiz on that Christmas note.